Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever time of day you're viewing this. I'm John Burgundy.
And I'm Dan Browngundy.
And we are Let's Get Ready to Fumble, News at 5. So what's on the list of things to do today, Dan?
Okay, so things we've done this week.
Oh, of course.
And I should have been preparing for SteamCon, but I have not been painting at all. I've been putting it off incredibly badly. But I did manage to get away the long-awaited Full Metal Alchemist RPG I've been intending to run for the last 5 years?
5, if not 7. It was good. I was about to say worth the wait. I don't want to belittle the enjoyment, but we only played for about 3.5 hours, so it didn't feel like 7 years of prep, but it was a good 2 years of enjoyment, I feel.
I mean, I did feel particularly rewarding accidentally nearly taking out Matt's character.
Yeah.
With a grunt.
Absolutely. I've never seen something done to a player in session 1 that was quite so brutal. And I've seen and done some brutal things to players in session 1 and their characters. What else have you been up to?
That's it.
Fair enough. Well, I suppose it's a lot of preparation time.
Oh, aside from work, I'm playing some Red Dead Redemption.
Oh, of course. Well, Red Dead Redemption Red Dead Redemption fever has caught on lately, I've heard.
Apparently it has. And you? What have you been up to?
I mean, I partook in an FMA session for Savage Worlds campaign, long-awaited.
How was that?
It was, I think I gave it 2 out of 7 years enjoyment for the 3.5-hour session. I have prepared for SteamCon this weekend by remembering I'm going. So
that's always a good start.
Yeah, I had to move a couple of my personal writing and proofreading deadlines there, so I didn't have to do any of that over the weekend. And instead of painting my own team or paying someone to paint it, I've borrowed a painted team from my good friend Richard Bailey. Brand new team. I played 4 games with them. The first 3, no, not 4 games. Played 6 games with them.
And which team's this?
Ratcatchers.
Ooh.
Yeah, season 4, so it's all new and exciting. Looking forward to seeing how it goes. Apart from that, Blood Bowl related, I introduced 2 new players to the game.
And how did that go?
They thoroughly enjoyed it. 1 half, 3 casualties, 2 fatalities. Just human versus orcs out of the box. I think they're going to catch on. If our Sunday Night Football League goes on again, they may be competing in it.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, I also, I did play 1 game of Blood Bowl.
But we'll talk about that later.
On that note, though, we are going to move to...
Oh no, we've got introductions of a new player.
Oh, of course, I completely apologise. This is the new coach of the Brains team. They are, I think they've got a sponsor with Ice Cream, the frozen yogurt provider. I think it's yogurt anyway. I'm not sorry for that joke.
Typical of these young upstarts are coming in already with a kit sponsor.
Yeah.
The Bash Street Bullies have been around for years, and well, a year, and still don't have a sponsor.
Yeah, but you go through players fairly quickly, so...
Good point, there's no branding there.
Yeah, absolutely. No face for it. But yes, welcome, Dan Pilgrim, to the league. We're glad to have you aboard. Thanks for stepping up.
Welcome, Dan.
So, strong name I hear, apparently.
Apparently.
So now can we shift to...
Yep. And now we're on to the results for the previous week. And we'll open up with the North this time, where the first game we've got a record for is the Rockham Rangers versus the Underworld Impalers. Score was 2 touchdowns to 1 in favour of the Rockham Rangers and 6-0 on the casualty track. And I believe you had the pleasure of being there
absolutely
witness this game.
I absolutely did. Thoroughly enjoyable to watch. Both DJ and Dyson enjoyed it. It got, the 6 casualties were to the Rockham Rangers. The coach of the Underworld Impalers not standing up the remaining, I think there was only 3 of his players left on the board by the end of the game. And he didn't stand them up.
At risk of more...
At risk of more injuries for the last 3 turns, because it became a challenge for one of DJ's runners to see if he could run the length of the field in 3 turns.
And did he do it?
With the assistance of a blitzer who had a handoff to him, yes, he did. So he managed to score that winning touchdown. I also want to point out there was some phenomenal football in this game. So DJ has a, we'll get onto this in the rosters, but he's got a secret footballer in the form of one of his blitzers. It's an agility 4 strong arm blitzer, which means...
As a Dwarf.
As a dwarf, yes.
Wow.
Yes. Rightly so, you stutter. And he threw a long bomb. I think it was something the full length of the template, so 13 squares, and completed the pass. Only to have Dice tackle the ball off him with one of his, I think it was a vampire. Then another vampire picked up the ball and long bombed it back down the field.
Successfully?
Unfortunately, no. He made the long bomb.
But not the catch.
Didn't complete the catch.
That's what happens when you throw to amateurs.
Indeed. I think he was out of re-rolls as well, so it was truly amateur. But it was really fun to watch. And while, both players thoroughly enjoyed the game, and Dice explained the fact that the coach stopped paying attention to the game for the last 3 ones because there was nothing he was doing. It was just a case of DJ rolling some go for it and the handoff to see if he could make it. And yeah, like you say, Dice didn't want to get involved in risking his additional players. He did, I think someone died.
Ooh.
Can't remember exactly.
Was it a vampire?
No,
So did they fail
I think
there?
it's just a thrall. I think he's got a vampire missing next game though.
Brutal.
Indeed. But apart from that, like most of the team survived intact. He might have a stat bust on a thrall. I don't know if he's getting rid of him and just taking journeyman. Or he did, I think, sorry if I misrepresent you here, Dice, but I think he did talk about potentially re-racking again. I don't think he's going to, but I think...
He was talking about it, and I think he decided to go, no, I'm going to continue on.
Hard mode. But yes, thoroughly enjoyable game. Thank you very much for letting me watch, guys.
And then on to game 2, which was scheduled to be the Master Splinter Youth Club versus the Brayherds, but due to the coach for the Splinter Youth Club moving away, Andy Hoff got another 0-0 draw.
Indeed.
And some MVP.
He got 1 MVP and 1 roll on the cash.
So he did get them removed.
Indeed, this was the most recent controversy that was seen in the coaches section of the headquarters for the Spartan Cup / the Facebook group. It wasn't really. It was a very un-Blood Bowl-like affair in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it seemed to be lots of agreements. I mean, the closest we came to any dissent was Dyson making some very good points about some people dodging their games if they knew they were going to lose or get outbashed.
Yeah, no.
So I wish you did that against me, and
well, I mean, we'll get on to that.
We'll get to that.
He didn't lose.
Didn't
the
win
game. Yeah, but so Andy's because of the life conflict. Bearded Steve has just ruled that you only get your normal MVP and your gold one, and it's a 0-0 draw. Also, Andy was up for a coach's corner interview next Tuesday, which I've yet to arrange with the technical department. Sorry about that, but it's not set in stone. He did, though, raise the very good point that he's probably not the best person because he's played 1 game in 3 brackets.
But he has got his Minotaur.
Yeah, he's got his Minotaur. So, yeah, that's that. Game 3?
Some humans versus the red, white and green skins. Score ended 1-1 with 2 casualties to 1 in favour of some humans. Mm-hmm. Again, I did not get a chance to watch this due to
it was recording, actually. They played it.
Yes, they played whilst we were recording.
They played the night we recorded episode 3, which is absolutely available on YouTube right now.
Yes.
It will be by the time you're watching this one. But yeah, so it was a fun game by all accounts. Yeah, there's nothing else to say. It was a draw. I don't think. I think maybe someone died. I think possibly. I read the match report that was put up, and I think someone might have died, but I could have misread.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing that in the obituary page.
Indeed, when it gets re-updated. So I'm sure you'll be visiting there again.
And we are still missing a result from the from the north.
Yep.
Which I, for the life of me, cannot remember which that game was.
Oh, well, that's the... Oh, no, it didn't occur. It was the Sky Warpfires versus the Rains Park Orcish. There was a post in the group of that.
Oh, yes.
The Rains Park Orcish coach did not confirm a dime. I think, again, misrepresentation is our watchword here, so if we did it, it's not personal, we do it to everyone. Just correct us. We'll add something in the comments or next episode, maybe. But yeah, so I think there's no extra game to report there. That would have been another 0-0 draw, possibly, depending on Bearded Steve's ruling, with both MVPs and cash going to one of the players. Either way, could be split.
Counts as a 2-3-0 victory, that doesn't it?
It might be a 2-0 victory, yes, in that case.
And
But it's all in the league document, so you can read there for more information.
And now moving on to the south. We've got opening up with the How Now Brown Cows versus the South London Blades. Still love saying that.
Yeah, did you watch the game?
I did not.
No, I know you didn't, because we talked about it last episode as well.
Yes, because it occurred before we recorded, I believe.
Indeed, it did. I got to watch it, though, so...
Well, lucky you. Which was 2-1 to the South London Blades.
Indeed.
With 1 casualty to nothing to the How Now Brown Cows. It's good to hear they can actually do something, if not score enough touchdowns.
Ooh, sick burns.
Meow.
Yeah, Johnny's on a bit of a winning spree there.
Someone's going to need to try and put him in his place.
Who's he playing next?
I believe that's me.
Blam! So I guess we know who's putting him in his place.
Attempting to put him in his
Yeah,
place.
we'll see. And then, we don't have any other games to report from the south, do we?
Aside from the coach off. No, the host off,
Well,
sorry.
it was a coach off as well. Every game's a coach off. But yeah, it was the commentators competition. Johnny Chill, thank you very much for that one. It was a travesty of a game.
Both teams made quite heavy coaching errors.
Okay, mine was like
You were a bit too timid.
medium weight. I didn't want to give you a chance to get another touchdown. Yours one was a heavy coaching error.
Yeah. What do you mean another touchdown? I failed to score a touchdown.
Yeah. So let's explain the situation, shall we, Dan?
Okay. What was it? Turn 5 of the first half.
Yep. Turn 5.
I've got
Just after he knocked out my fanatic for the game.
3 spaces to go with my ball carrier to the end zone. No tackle zones on him. Should have been just a simple walk-in.
No
But
go for it.
nothing.
No dodge rolls. No dice at all.
But it was on a guy who I did not really want to be getting SPP on. So I took the rather ballsy play, which required, I believe, 5 or 6 dice rolls. 2 dodge, 2 go for it, it's a pass and a
catch. It was 1 dodge.
It was 1 dodge, so it was 5 things. And that was for my goblin player to dodge out of a tackle zone, walk around, and then go for it twice into the end zone. And he failed his dodge. And
It
the
was the last
inbuilt dodge
dodge
roll.
roll as well, though. It was the last one. He passed the first one.
No, because I only had 1 dodge, it was go for
No,
it.
you must have had 2 dodges. 'cause
And 1 go for it,
Yeah,
then.
because you used your dodge re-roll up on the first one, but passed the first dodge. Then you had to dodge out of that second square, failed that, and...
Forgot to use my team reroll.
Well, I think it's more that you forgot you had one.
No, I knew I had
Oh,
one.
okay.
I thought because I'd used a dodge, a reroll for an inbuilt
okay.
reroll dodge.
Yeah, no, you did mention it, but it was a couple of turns later.
Yes, it was at the end of the half when I realised.
Yeah. He did roll the dice just as a science experiment to see what he would have got.
And rolled a 1.
Yeah, so it would have failed anyway. But because of that, I managed to hold him off for the half by not literally throwing goblins, because that's a tactic I have. Just hurling my players across the pitch in a non-literal sense.
And I just
Get in the
blitzed at
way.
anyone near the ball, attempting to pick up the ball on the way through with this blitz. And for the life of me, could not pick up that ball.
I had to stop you getting the touchdown in the end, because it was still on that player. So if I didn't get it off him, he was going to score next turn. So to get it off him, I had to do like a leap and then a dodge out on a blitz with my pogoer, which is no rerolls by this point. I burnt then. Turn 3. Oh no, turn 4, because we had a riot and we didn't have a turn 1. Yeah, so I had to do the jump, had to do a dodge, then I had to move around, and then I had to get, I think I managed to wangle a 2 dice blitz on your chap, which meant I had 2 other goblins free and unmarked who had to get there as well. And
It was a very janky play, and
it was
greatly received. Although I was on the receiving end of it, I did have to applaud and... Well, obviously, at the end of the half, once the frustration had boiled down.
Indeed. But for me, I had a good turn 3.
Where you put half my big guys on the ground.
Indeed. But after that, things went downhill. My fanatic being bravely uphill blocked by the Professor,
Drew Bledsoe,
Yep.
Bledsoe.
his troll, who then rolled a defender stumbles or a both down. And I took the both down, which meant my Fnatic was out of play.
Yeah, hit himself with that giant ball.
Yeah, that's how Fnatics work. When you knock a prone for any reason, they count as KO'd, which means they can't come back on unless you bribe. Yeah, although Drew did spend the rest of the half on the floor, having been hit so hard by the ball,
He
apparently.
was pretty tired.
Yeah, he was really comfy lying down after being hit in the head by a... So he was on the pitch, he just failed every 4 really stupid rolls in a turn.
Yeah, I did have someone standing next to him, all 4 of them, so it was 4
Come on, you can
consecutive
do it,
ones.
Yeah.
And the casualty list went for 3 to 3.
Yeah, well, that's because the second half got really spicy when Khan the Befriender made some friends. First move, I kicked second half. First move was a blitz, I believe, with the chainsaw, who added to Dan's ability to sign on the obituary list we're setting up, killing a lineman.
Poor old Walter Payton. May he rest in peace.
Lovingly eviscerated. And
Brutally ripped apart.
At that point, I think Dan had a drink quietly while I finished my turn. And then...
Not so quietly.
And then I went on to... He caused a casualty on another player.
Belichick,
Yep.
Belichick, who has gained a niggling injury
As a result,
from that.
which is a lot better than being dead. And he also KO'd your Minotaur.
Was it my Minotaur?
It was your Minotaur, because he then went after the Ogre later on.
Yeah, I KO'd my Minotaur, yes.
Yeah, because your Minotaur came in deep in my half, so I blitzed him first of all with the chainsaw, and he got KO'd. I was like, well, I'm scoring 1 touchdown, so that's fine. And then your Ogre made a miraculous move through the middle of the board. It was inspired. Had to soak a reroll, which you got with Loner. And he made a blitz onto my Pogoer, who went down, because that's what goblins do when they're hit by an Ogre. But Carl was nearby, so he blitzed over, and then...
Probably started the chainsaw in his face.
Indeed, yeah. Following the end of all of his killing sprees in games, which are getting longer, in fairness, he finished his killing spree with himself, taking himself off the pitch, causing no lasting harm, but he was injured. Not badly injured, I got a 9, so faking it, as it's otherwise known for stunties. And then I couldn't quite finish the touchdown, because I'd been wasn't exactly cautious, but I just didn't want to give you the chance to get a touchdown.
I think at the end I was closer, but I was still 2 squares away from. So for the final turn, we both completely ignored the ball and went as aggressive as humanly possible on each other.
Indeed, and...
Nothing happened there. I think we both failed our blitzes, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, sounds about right. No one died. I think a couple of people were knocked prone, but nothing important. My Grenadier threw his grenade 3 times, missed everything, didn't even hit my player. So it was, and yeah, when Doran walked in, we were playing out our flat, he walked in and went, how's the game? And we were both silent for a few seconds, and Steely went, it's really shit. We talked about it, we agreed, playing Blood Bowl is worth it, so that you can talk about it after the game.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's never fun at the time, but it's always fun to talk about afterwards.
Indeed. The stories you get are good. But it was a fun game. I did get a skill up out of it, because my Pogo got MVP for being the only one to do anything useful. I nominated the chainsaw, and I think I nominated my other troll, cheekily, although I'm not really sure why, retrospectively. Probably could have been better on a goblin. But I got it on the Pogoer, so he's now got jump up.
Jump up and leap is a mean combo.
Jump up, leap, dodge. Almost got sidestep.
I'll bit the next one.
Yeah, if he lives.
And I managed to level up my Minotaur again and gave him break tackle. So with the hope that he will become the almighty invincible ball carrier.
So, yeah, this means he can blitz out of a space on a 2 or more, or into a space with a tackle zone on a 2 or more, and hit someone else. Like, it's strong.
you're going to be hearing, over the next few games, hopefully hearing a lot of gore!
That's not his name. He's
Gronk.
He's still Gronk. Partly because I think the head coach can't be bothered to come up with a new name or can't afford a new shirt for the minor tour.
No, I didn't fancy painting the base again and rewriting a new name. And again, couldn't think of a new name.
So I think that rounds up the games for last week.
That does, which then brings us swiftly onto the standings.
Indeed, current standings. We're staying over here in the sports corner because it's sports.
And so, in the north, we've got a tie at the Bray Herds, the Red, White and Greenskins and the Rockham Rangers on 5 points. Only one touchdown separating third from second, and all square on the top two with the Bray Herds and the Red, White Greenskins. On a tied fourth is the Scary Warpfires and Some Humans with 4 points with a touchdown margin of 0. Next up, tied for sixth, is Rains Park Hawkish and the Underworld Impalers with 2, again with a touchdown margin of 0. Then in eighth, we've got the New Zork Giants with 1 point, but a touchdown margin of 2. And then the newcomer into the league, Brains, 0 points, 0 touchdowns.
Well, we all know that zombies are a bit slow to get off the mark, but once they get going, they can be pretty hordic. That's the best I've got. It's a really tight competition up the top there. I mean, Andy's got there with 2, no games played, so he could have been much higher.
He could have been at 9 points.
But he could also have been at 3.
Yes.
If it had gone wrong for him. Probably at 9, having seen his roster, but, dice. So, and even for the fourth, it's quite tight because there's 2 players on 4 points. All to play for. All to play for in the north. So don't worry, Brains. The catch-up's real.
And then in the south, there's a clear victor at the moment, which is Johnny's South London Blades, with a perfect score of 3 back consecutive victories and a touchdown margin of 5.
So that's like a runaway train that plays very good football.
Like I said, I need to put the brakes on this train.
You need to, kill some of his players.
And then
I can give you an incentive if you
give me some funding.
Yeah. Well, once you've
How
done
does 40k sound so I can get that apothecary and the dark elf?
I'll let you know after my next game. So it depends if I've got 40k.
Well, I'm playing tomorrow.
I'd go for it as if I'm going to pay you.
Okay, then it's a three-way tie on points with the Block and Rollers, the Warhogs, and yours truly. With the Warhogs and the Black Bash Street Bullies with a +1 touchdown margin, and the Block and Rollers with a -1. In 5th place, you've got the How Now Brown Cows with their 3 points and a +1 touchdown margin. Then you've got a three-way tie for 6th, which is the Back Alley Bandits, the Calidor Croydonians, the New Phoenix Patriots, all on 2 points. New Phoenix Patriots with a blank touchdown margin, and the Calidor Croydonians and yours truly, or yourself, sorry.
Me truly.
You truly, -1.
Oh. I thought that was going to be big.
Bearing in mind with that, the New Phoenix Patriots only have 2 recorded games, so they could be.
Yeah, you're right.
And then, dragging up the rear is the Lost Boys with 1 point and a touchdown margin of -5.
But to be fair, John, if you win a game, you jump up past my bracket. So when we play, that's all you've got to do.
That would put you in the joint 2nd through 4th.
So it's quite tight.
Apart from
the runaway winner at the moment, who hopefully we're going to put some players in the ground. Celia was talking on the way here about how unenthusiastic he is about that, because one of the players I named was an Agility 5 Dark Elf, and it might have struck too close to the heart.
Tom Shady.
But it's still all to play for, really, because a couple of bad games for the Dark Elves and they're not getting any more points. I mean, Johnny's doing well. I can't deny that, obviously. But what I'm saying is 4 points is only 2 games behind 9.
Yes.
And in the north, it's really tight. 2 games is going to put
anyone with from either Rains Park Orkish or the Underworld Impalers could go top or tied top with a win if the people currently in the top lose a game.
Indeed. That's how this game works. If someone wins, someone loses, if you didn't know already.
And that's all for that's the current standings.
Indeed.
On to the roster feature.
Indeed. So I'm going to have to use a piece of slightly reliable technology for this, because I didn't print off the rosters. But they have been sent to me by our esteemed commissioner, with a K, Bid Steve. We're going to start with, they're in alphabetical order, so this isn't favouritism. Next time, pick your names for your teams with an A, if you want to go first. So the AA runaway goal scorers could be good. We are going to start with the Bash Street Bullies, which is quite good, because we've got the coach in the house. So your current roster is...
Sparse?
Yeah, I can see 2 slots. The number 9 slot is missing, owning up to that, and the number 17 slot appears to be missing on a 16-man roster.
After number 5 was permanently retired after the death of Tom Shady.
Indeed, indeed. So you haven't re-racked, but you've only got the 1 skill up on one of your Marauders, which is pass, as you mentioned. Bella seems to have a niggling injury and is missing next game, which might make it... So you're going into that game with 2 journeymen.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So your game against Johnny, you're going to have 2 journeymen there. But that's 2 people to throw under a bus that the Dark Elves don't have. What else have we got? Guard on your Troll, which is going to be useful. Break Tackle and Juggernaut on your Minotaur. And your Ogre, which has Break Tackle. I mean, not much to talk about there. You went for 3 big guys to start with rather than the positional, in inverted commas, players. Do you want to shed some light on that? Because you did have the option of getting a Dark Elf, a Skaven runner, and an Orc.
I still could have got them for roughly the same sort of, aside from the Dark Elf, the Skaven and the Orc are the same value as the standard human, so I could at any point drop them out or recruit them fairly easily. The question was whether or not to get an extra human and an extra reroll, or drop one of each of those, or just drop a reroll and get the Dark Elf.
Is that for your next game?
Well, that's now whether or not I get an Apothecary. Or
yeah, indeed, because I was going to say, I noticed there's still no Apothecary on here after last time.
That's what happens when you're fighting fires instead of preventing them.
And there's 85,000 in the bank, so you could buy that feasibly before the next game if you...
Or I go balls out and go for the Dark Elf.
I like hardcore mode.
Hardcore mode?
Hardcore mode.
Hardcore mode.
Entire season with no Apothecary on roster.
With my record, that's going to be horrible.
But he's got 3 for 3 so far. Who knows? Will he do it? Find out in a later episode. Possibly each episode going forward, he'll say, no, I'll get an Apothecary next time. And
I've been saying that since week 1.
Next week. All right, next up, from the north, we have the Brayherds. This is Andy Hoff. He's got a lot of skill ups here. Very disappointed that most of them, all of them, apart from 2, the first skill up was block. With the amount of SPP here, you could have made your team terrifyingly football. Notably, one of them has only 1 skill up. He's got a smashed collarbone, which might be why he's not got block, but he's got strong arm. So, because I don't think the Beastmen get passing skills basic. So
we can check that.
Oh, fresh. We have, not only did Steely actually do some research this time, I did not, but we have brought reference material. These are not books purely for show. They're visual aids for us, so we can check rules.
Actually, no, these are the Chaos Renegades on here, so I cannot
So we can't actually even about reference material. Never mind, I'll stop advertising it. But I believe they can't get passing. And strong arm is like a passing skill on the strength tree, which we'll cover later on in this episode. He does have somebody with a +1 agility and block. 2 Chaos Warriors with guard and 1 with claw.
Excuse me, I'll have a look through this one, as this is Death Zone 1. It may have.
Yeah, Nothing on his Minotaur. Oh, he has an apothecary. I'm just letting you know.
I have heard that they are quite handy.
He's also got a beastman with extra arms. So there's a little bit of football going on now, which I support, but should have started sooner. All this block, and you could have got pro. You could have had pro on all of your players, Andy. That's terrifying. I mean, he's got 3 rerolls. I was about to say only, but I only have 3. But with pro on all of his players, that could have been quite scary because they get general skills base. I'm looking forward to a team that has that. It's going to be glorious. But it's still quite a fearsome lineup, especially if he plays more rugby and cages. It's going to be difficult to break into. But aside from that, I mean, there's unfortunately... Oh, he's got tackle on strip ball on 2 people as well, which are football skills for a fighty team. As we mentioned last time, they're good, but...
break their legs.
Yeah, and knock the ball free, which is the objective.
I know I meant break their legs. Get rid of their ball carriers.
I know, but then you don't need skills for that. It helps.
Just a very specific number on the injury roll.
Indeed. Despite the overall fightiness of his team, he's only got 2 casualties of this league.
He's only played 1 game.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Sorry, Andy. All right, still. We'll move on. Next, maybe abandoning the alphabetical order here, is the South London Blades.
South London Blades.
So current front runners in the South League. We have, he's gone with 4 blitzers, which is pretty standard, accepted for Dark Elves. He's got 2 runners, which I'm a bit hazy on, but if you like them, they're only move 7. I thought they were move 8. Apparently not. And he's got 1 Witch Elf.
Only the 1?
Yeah, who's also move 7. He's got someone died, but he's replaced them. I think he might have bought the extra runner to replace a lineman, actually, looking at this. He also has a journeyman for next game, looking at it, so he is a man down on his roster.
Oh, if he's got a journeyman for next game as well, then that would counteract one of my journeymen.
I think his are more expensive.
Ooh.
So I think that's a couple of extra 10,000s there, what you can do with that. We'll see. Let's have a look at these skill ups. He's got guard on a lineman. Fair enough. I don't know if that was a double or not. I think it is. I'm not really a fan of that one if it is a double, Johnny.
It's always quite handy if they're on the middle of the
it's
running scrimmage.
It's not bad. All of his touchdowns appear to be going on his,
On his...
no, not all of them. My apologies. Johnny, you've got a blitzer with 2 touchdowns, 6 SPP. He hasn't apparently done his skill up. So unless the document you've sent is wrong, or I'm reading it wrong, which I don't think I am. Touchdowns, 2.
SPP
6. He's just got block. So there is a skill floating there.
I don't like the sound of that.
Interesting. But they are Dark Elf blitzers.
That will increase the team value again, which will be good for me.
That's a total of what looks like 40,000
So
difference.
yeah, I think this is making me now go for the Dark Elf, because then I'll be able to get a Bloodwiser babe to bring back on anyone that's hurt.
Yeah, unless they're really hurt. We might need...
Or I don't recruit anyone and I go for Blue Grip Whip Arm.
Interesting. So would the Dark Elf be a mercenary?
No.
Oh, you'd actually hire to
recruit
replace it. I'll probably do that. I like that, and then you're definitely going hardcore mode. So we'll see. But that's just an interesting point there. So we can't fully represent it. He has got 3 skill ups between his 2 runners though, which is where all the other 1 touchdown. Oh, he's got block on his Witch Elf as well. Sorry, 2 touchdowns on the Witch Elf. So she's got block, which is quite nice with dodge. Makes her a very tasty ball carrier, especially with frenzy.
Oh yeah, so block is the skill, so that's already included in the team value. So
yeah, so that's fine. Yeah, don't get hopeful.
So maybe not.
Well, no. For the blitzer, he's not done it.
No, for the...
Oh, the Witch Elf, yeah, but it's the blitzer and the lineman being more expensive than yours. I think his are 70k as opposed to 50. So check that. But he's got leader and pass on one of his runners. He's got a total of 3 completions and 2 touchdowns, thanks to the dump-off skill, no doubt. And then he's got pass on his other one, who's got 4 completions and 1 touchdown. So clearly he's the front guy and gets punched first, so he has to make those passes. But he's got past on that second guy, making them quite a nice little tag team. So good picks there.
So blitz the passer is what you're telling me for strategy.
They've also got AV7 compared with the rest of his team, which is AV8. So they are the softer part, but you've got to catch them. With move 7, that could be tough. Although, go for it.
That may be 2 go for it then for a blitz.
Yeah,
7
probably.
squares away.
But, it says he's only got 8 touchdowns here. 2, 4, and he has only got 8. So I added that up wrong in my head. Oh, it's 9 league points, that's what he's got.
Yes.
1 casualty, which I believe was against John. But I could be wrong. It's a very effective team. I like that guard's useful, especially if he's lining up his blitzers as his line of scrimmage, and then he has that lineman in the middle. It's pretty solid, I suppose.
That's what I'd probably be doing. Because what else are you going to use lineman for?
Kick.
It's quite niche.
You're going to be doing it at least once a game. You could also be punched lots more than once a game. But all they have to do is punch the lineman with guard. Problem solved. Just push him out. Next, the new coach, Dan Pilgrim. Brains. So we have 4 zombies. Bob, Frank, Gary and Susan. Pretty standard zombies. Move 4, strength 3, agility 2, AV8. Then we've got regen, because you really want to keep them.
For a little Blackadder reference, I'd like them really to make Bob the ball carrier. I like you, Bob. You have balls.
Bob. Yep.
Bob.
It's also fun to say. I'll agree with that one. Then he's got 2 ghoul runners, the Hunchback and Brokeback. Made me chuckle out loud. And then Sir Earl and King Arthur, the White Blitzers. And Remus and Lucy Lupus as the werewolves.
Lupus or?
Lupus.
Ah, yes. That's why you said to me Lupin on the drive.
Might have done. But I didn't have it in front of me then, Dan, so I apologise.
Accurate.
No skill ups, so there's not much we can talk about there, but it does seem a quite balanced team looking at it. Between the blitzers and the werewolves, fairly fighty, and then those ghouls are move 7, agility 3 with dodge. It's not bad. What have we got next? Oh yes, the Warhogs. This is going to be a long section.
It's a full roster, if
it's
well, not quite.
13 players, so we did get some extra people. He's got 3 blockers who have got guard. 1 who's got a strength up. 4 with guard. 1's just further down the roster, pardon me. 1 with a strength up. 1 lineman who is base, who's one of the ones who was missing his bye game. Then who have we got? Blitzer with no skills up. But another blitzer, clearly the favourite, with dodge and mighty blow. So that is a blodging mighty blow dwarven blitzer.
That's just asking to be killed.
Pretty vicious. I avoided punching him the entire game because he has block and dodge. And my goblins.
You'd need 6s.
Yeah. And it would be uphill. So he's
almost
then got
always.
Almost always. He's then got 2 troll slayers who both have mighty blow. One of them is tackle. And let me tell you, that was very annoying because that counteracts dodge, as discussed last week. He's then got a runner with block and fend, and then the other one's got block and he's got kick-off return. So that's a really nice combination for your ball carriers. Block because you can't get dodge, I suppose, and people are willing to take risks on both downs against ball carriers. It also means their blitzes are a little more reliable. And then he's got the Death Roller, which has apparently only got 1 casualty, but he's got SPP for it. I don't think you can do that because it's a secret weapon. But I'd have to check in the book, which I'll do so during one of your sections. Then there's my team, which we've heard lots about. So all I'll say is that I've got Pro on my Doom Diver. I've got Jump Up now on my Pogoer. And I've got multiple block on Beauty Queen Bonnie, my River Troll, which was quite useful, actually.
You've actually named your River Troll now.
Yeah, absolutely, rather than Riv. So it's Beauty Queen Bonnie and Gentleman Jonald on my 2 trolls.
Like the names.
Indeed. So I felt they were useful last game and the other game. So they deserved it. Multiple block was a bit of a risk, but on a troll it means I only have to have that one crowd out, which you witnessed, and it worked. I think I got it off 2 or 3 times. I think one I'd both downed on the second, but that would have happened on a single block as well. Well, that's not a problem with both block. So it's risky, but if you're willing to engineer it, I support it as a decision, especially because my goblins aren't going to be doing anything until one gets dauntless, and then will literally punch everything. Then the How Now Brown Cows, Matt Doran's team, who's embraced my tactic I had with my Elf Union of skilling up individually. So each person is different, as safe as he feels doing. So he's got a Beastman runner with 2 heads and strip ball.
And the thing I do like about the way he's been doing is he's actually been modifying his miniatures to get these mutations, which, mad props.
Yeah, he's quite an accomplished modeller. He'll do himself down, which is up to him, but I think he's quite accomplished. So the modelling has gone quite well. I
have enlisted him to do a lab coat for the professor.
Nice.
Out of green stuff.
I'm looking forward to it.
So am I.
He's also then got quite a lot of skill ups. He's got leader on a Beastman runner, which is an extra reroll a half essentially. Guard on another one, which is a pretty good shout when strength skills are your basic. Then another one who's got an extra arm and wrestle.
Always good wrestle.
And also listed under his skills is serious concussion, which I believe should be under the injury section. But this is the guy who got a serious concussion in like the first game of our little league, and then he was about to sell him and hasn't, and he's really come through. He's Matt's favourite player.
What does serious concussion?
-1 armour value.
Oh yes. I remember facing him vividly.
Yeah.
And not being able to touch him.
Yeah, he's maintained wellness. Then he's got another guy with claw, which is just good. Then another Beastman runner with extra arm, dodge and block, the all-star. He's got a Chaos Warrior with block and another one with guard. Bacon, who's picked up Juggernaut. And that's his most recent skill up. He's only just got that on the Minotaur. So that's his list. It's quite varied, but it means he's got quite a toolbox there.
He's got utility.
Yeah.
He's essentially got Batman's utility belt.
Indeed, and I think that's much stronger in Blood Bowl than a reliable skill set, says the Goblin player, who's going to go with Chaos Dwarfs next time. I support my words with my actions.
Easier said, easier to talk about and praise than actually do yourself, eh, Jad?
John. Someone's trying to stick in the needles. I'm only taking 4 dwarves in my Chaos Dwarf team. And I played goblins. They've all got different skill ups. No one's died. I've got to be the most successful goblin coach based on players not dying.
I mean, do I technically count as a goblin coach if I've got goblins in my team?
No. No, you're just stealing my reserve players, that's all it is. We've then got the red, white and green skins. 3 skill ups here. 4, pardon me. Oh no, 3, I apologise. We've got a Black Orc blocker, one of the 4, with guard. One of the 4 Orc blitzers has tackle. Good choice, like it. Anti-football. Then his troll has guard. It's currently missing next game. The other thing I thought was a skill up is actually an injury. He's got a serious concussion, I believe, because he's lost an armour value as well, which isn't such a big deal on a troll. Going from 9 to 8 is big, but because you've got regenerate, you're less worried, I suppose.
Well, it just brings him back in line with a Minotaur.
And with 4 Black Orc blockers and 4 Orc blitzers, he's pretty fighty. That's punchy.
I'm actually not looking forward to facing.
Well, that's only if you both make the playoffs, because he's in the
Or
North.
neither do.
Oh yeah, well neither of you do.
And face in the Spartanbowl.
So either try harder or try harder. I don't know who to wish on well. Then we've got the Sky Warp Fires. Most entertaining thing about this list is that the 5 linemen don't have names. I like it. Yeah, so the 2 blitzers have picked up guard, which is pretty nice. The Rat Ogre's picked up Juggernaut, very good choice. We have the thrower, who is sure hands, pass and accurate. I don't know how much a Skaven thrower starts that with.
I couldn't tell you either.
But I think it's definitely going to be sure hands, possibly pass, hopefully not accurate. But good picks. And then both of his gut runners have got dodge, and they've picked up Weeping Dagger, which is, I believe, any casualty they cause is also a miss next game. And so any casualty they cause is missing next game, which is big, but on the gut runners, it's interesting. I don't know if they can get Weeping Blades on other people. It might be gut runner only. But I like it. It's a dangerous choice. It's an out there choice. Then we've got Commissioner Steve's team, New Phoenix Patriots. So got a Blitzer. Oh, these are Elf Union. He's picked up Dodge on one Blitzer, so that's horrific with Sidestep. He's got Dodge on a Catcher, which is pretty good. And then he's got Accurate on his Thrower, which is quite nice. So again, a couple of skill ups there, not massive amounts, but makes him good at what he wants to do, which is, like, having played Elf Union, speccing into fighting is difficult.
So bouncing around, dodging your way through and getting away passes and things like that.
Yeah, because you don't have access to strength skills, except maybe on the blitzers, but even then I don't think you want them. And with Sidestep already, picking up dodge just makes you exceptionally good. So that brings us to the end of the rosters that I have with us. So hopefully you got some insights there. I look at Steely, I mean to look at the camera. Hopefully you got some insights there. And we will move on to our next section, which is
the strength skill tree.
Welcome to the Skills Corner. I had another name for it, like I promised, but I forgot what it was. Never mind.
Skill section?
I hope it was more catchy than the skill section, but it might have been. Yeah, we're just going to list the skills. We've got the rules in front of us this time, so we won't have. If we have any discussions, we can find them. I'm going to try to find them in the book, or look like I'm doing something useful. But Steely, would you like to take us away? Because I believe you're a fan of the first one.
The first skill on our list is break tackle. And
you're weak to do that.
And with break tackle, it's essentially a way to get low agility players but high strength players the chance to dodge out of tackle zones and move around. They for one dodge roll, they get a chance to, they use their strength stat as opposed to their agility stat.
That's once per turn, to clarify, not once per game.
Yeah, sorry, that is what I meant.
Yeah.
And so it means you can get your Minotaur, Ogre, Troll dodging out on a 2.
Get over that ogre. Dodging out of into one tackle zone and out of 2 tackle zones with break tackle to stop me scoring. It was horrific to watch.
I mean, I failed it, which then had to rely on the loner.
That's true. He got a loner reroll, but
but if I was going to try to do that without break tackle, I'm pretty sure I needed a 6.
Agility 2? Yeah. No, 5. Agility 2.
What, with 2 tackle zones?
No, you're dodging out of the tackle zones because you only had to make the 1 dodge roll. I think it's actually 4 or more to dodge with an agility 2. Because you get +1.
Oh, yes, so maybe.
But still, doing it with a strength of 5 and break tackle is far more reliable. As long as you don't roll a 1. It's all right, Loner came off. He was a team player that time. Yeah, it can turn big guys and strength-based teams. It's kind of a football skill for strength teams.
It's what you want to have if you want to have your if you want to have a ball-carrying Minotaur.
Or a ball-carrying Chaos Warrior. A ball-carrying...
Anyone with a strength up.
Indeed.
A Consigle.
Yeah. Ideally someone without Loner, but...
the reason I keep saying Minotaur is when you combine that with Frenzy and
the
Juggernaut, it just keeps moving the chains.
I'm just having a look here. I'm not sure. There's no line here to say you can't do it. It appears that dodge, the skill, allows you to re-roll a break tackle dodge. Because it still counts as a dodge roll. It just uses your strength characteristic.
Yes, but what skill tree?
I know, it's in another one, but it's an interesting interaction nonetheless. So you can still do it, and if you have dodge on a break tackle dude, it makes him very reliable. Especially like a troll or someone with a low agility, that can surprise people.
Next skill on our list is grab.
Indeed. Now, official apology here. I made it to the group, but I haven't really made it to... Oh, I said it in the coach's corner with Matt Doran. You cannot get grab if you have frenzy, and you cannot get frenzy if you have grab.
Accurate.
So, unlike my previous comments where I was very excited about that, because Games Workshop went, no, this would be too much fun, or / too good.
Grab essentially counteracts sidestep, where if you're making a block and you have to move a player, an opposing player, you get to put it in any square adjacent to you.
Indeed, and as Steely says, if they have sidestep, they can't use it. Grab is the superior skill in this circumstance.
I know it just cancels out and goes to a normal push.
Is that what it says here? Oh, it does. It goes to a normal push. Pardon me. That's changed as well.
See, I did my research today.
Fantastic. Or read the book that was in front of me.
I was confirming, but that was my suspicion.
Oh, okay, fair enough. It's better than I did, because I had the book in front of me and I still got it wrong. So, kudos there. Grab's a very powerful skill. It's kind of counter football. I like it. It's interesting as well, and it can set up crowd surfs, which is something we're going to talk about in a later episode. It's quite nice. Carrying on.
Next on the list is another one of my personal favourite skills, guard.
This is like a really passive, newbie-friendly skill. I say that. It's friendly to anybody who picks it up, but it's mechanically very simple. And in fact, it simplifies the game.
Yeah, you don't need to worry about tackle zones.
Having taught 2 new players how to play Blood Bowl, explaining how tackle zones worked and supporting players took a while, and involved a 6 model demonstration to fully explain it. But guard just means you can support people in tackle zones.
If you are otherwise engaged.
Well, yeah, like you need to be there as well, obviously. You need to be next to the player being punched. It's quite nice. There's not much you can say about the skill though. Except to counter it, punch the guy with guard, because it doesn't do anything to help himself.
Yeah. Next on the list, Juggernaut.
Blam. One of my favourite skills in this tree.
Yes, now Juggernaut works that if you're on your block, if you roll a both down, or block or blitz, if you roll a both down, you can change that to a push. So it works very well. It works very well in combination with Frenzy, where you can just keep pushing and, again, into the crowd surf, as we previously discussed.
Indeed, it is just on blitzes.
It's just on blitzes.
Just on blitzes, but that's why.
I only use my Minotaur for blitz, so it's.
Indeed, and I highly recommend it on Minotaurs because they, always be charging, and the ABCs of Blood Bowl.
AB, always be blitzing and blocking.
Yeah, so you want to be blitzing with your Minotaur anyway because it's got horns, so it gets +1 strength, making it exceptionally dangerous. It means it can one-on-one other big guys fairly confidently. It can get a 3 dice block on a normal strength 3 player quite confidently with just 1 friend. But it also has Wild Animal, which you need to be doing a block or a blitz action. Otherwise, it's a 4 or more to be able to go that turn. So.
If you're having to do that anyway, you may as well get.
Yeah, like they don't do very much unless you get an agility up on them. But yeah, like if they're going to be doing that anyway, you may as well specialise them. And while I'm normally against over specialisation, in this case, because it's already specialised or geared towards blitzing, go for it. It also means that opposing players cannot use fend, stand firm, or wrestle skills. I didn't know about wrestle.
No, neither did I.
That's interesting.
But, well, I suppose it makes sense because you're not going to be able, if the both down becomes a push, it's not going to be a.
Yeah. So yeah, that's quite good. Encountering fend and stand firm is really nice. It's also a may to take both down as a push. So if you really need to knock the ball carrier down, and it's like your second one or it's your only one on that blitz, if you're not frenzied, it can still knock the ball free.
Yes.
So that's quite nice.
Mighty Blow next. Fairly straightforward. It's a +1 to either your break armor or injure roll.
Yeah, that's about it.
One or the other. Can't use it for both.
Yeah. Personally, my least favourite skill on the tree. Not that it's not good.
It's not one that I would purchase personally, but I'm lucky enough to have 3 players in my team with it.
Yeah, I think you said that, not in a previous episode, but while we were chatting about it. Having it already is nice. Forking out for it, because
it's a waste of a skill. Unless you are going for a dedicated, just one guy who's going to end up with like a mutation claw, juggernaut.
With claw, it's
Well, not
really
even
good
juggernaut. Yeah, combine it with claw.
because you only ever need an 8, and if you roll a 7, you can make that an 8. So that makes it 58% of the time you're going to be getting an armor break. But that's optimal. I want to stress that it's 58% of the time useful for an armor break. Or not even that, because it's only when you roll a 7. So it must be somewhere in like the 20%.
And it's also only if their armor value is more than 7 anyway, which is half the team,
Yeah,
half
that's
the
if you've
league
got
out.
claw. Yeah, like it's a nice skill, and I used it a few times against you in our game, but like, so it was nice to have. But again, I don't know if I'd fork out for it because while I'm not a big strength player, as some people may have noticed, I think there's better things in the tree.
Yeah. The next skill is one that I believe is quite close to your heart: multiple block.
Yeah, man. It's a dangerous one, and it seems like it's unsafe. It allows you to make 2 blocks in a turn. You can't follow up on either one. Doesn't work on blitzes.
You can't frenzy.
You can't frenzy, but it's a way of controlling frenzy. It also, so you declare you have to be adjacent to 2 enemy players, and then both of them get +2 strength for the block. So I've got it on a troll, which means I just need 1 crowd out, and then he can get 2 dice blocks a turn, which is easier than expected, or people may think with my goblins, because doesn't matter that their strength 2, and they have dodge and stunty, so getting them in position can be quite easy. And because the fanatic people generally try to avoid him ending up near a player rather than hitting them is still useful. Yeah. It's
a double-edged sword.
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword. Just trying to read it. Nothing else here. To make the second block, you have to be standing after the first one.
Yep.
But that does mean you get to choose the order. So if by making 1 block, it would turn the second one from a 1 dice to a 2 dice, you can wangle it that way, which is what I did to Dan. I also managed to make a 2 dice uphill into a 1 dice block. So if you're good with your positioning, it's very powerful. And I think it's the best way for me to accelerate SPP gain on my trolls.
Yes.
Potentially doubling the amount of chances they get to cause a casualty.
Next on the list is stand firm. And stand firm is essentially the opposite of fend. You stay exactly where you are when you are pushed or blocked, where you're required to move a square back.
And you may choose to ignore, so you can choose to be pushed if you want. So might have a weird niche interaction with sidestep, which is in the agility tree, I accept. But I'm just highlighting that. And if a player is pushed into you and you have stand firm, then that push is cancelled as well. So that's interesting to note for crowd surfing. God, we're using that phrase a lot. It's almost like it's
It's a thing.
Yeah, a thing, an accepted mechanic in the game, which it is, but we will do a section on that later because it's a little complicated. But yeah, generally stand firms, it's kind of like guard, but it's nice for people with guard if they're
staying on the offensive line.
And it means they can't be pushed out, and also it means that they can't be pushed away from protecting a ball carrier.
Next on to strong arm, which gives you a +1 bonus when you're either going for a short, long, or long bomb pass.
Oh, but not the quick.
Not on the quick, because you already get the +1 from that anyway.
Fair enough.
So it makes all those makes those balls out long passing plays a lot more acceptable.
And so it is the football skill and the strength tree, the big football skill.
And now, does that combine with
accurate?
No, I was thinking throw teammate.
Yes.
So it does also count
because throw teammate is a pass action.
Pass action on the.
You just
it's
have
only
to
declaring by the range as opposed to the actual.
Yeah. So it does work with throw teammate. It used to turn throw teammate into a Hail Mary, but it doesn't anymore. You can only still do the first 2 bits on the pass template. If you've got pass, it combines with that, so you get a reroll with the +1. If you've got accurate, it stacks, so you actually get +2, which means you're doing long bombs on your base agility. It's tasty. Very tasty.
Thick skull is next on our list. It's all in alphabetical order there, so
Yeah.
make it easier for you to find.
Absolutely. Well, you think that I keep flicking back to check what the one is, and then I have to. So yeah. Do you want to finish up with describing thick skull?
All right, now thick skull is a. I'm currently having a brain fart. So
Okay, I'll read it from the book then. This player treats a roll of 8, literally from the book, because I don't truly know the wording. Treats a roll of 8 on the injury table after any modifications have been applied as a stunned result rather than a KO'd result. This skill may be used even if the player is prone or stunned. So it just makes you harder to KO.
So it's the exact opposite of stunty.
No, not exactly. It's a weird interaction with stunty. So stunty turns a 7 and an 8 rather than an 8 and a 9 into a KO. So this, weirdly, turns the 8 into a 6 because it stuns them, not KO'd. So you're only, if you have a stunty player with thick skull, you're KO'd on a 7, but you're stunned on a 8.
Wow.
And then you're badly injured on a 9.
That is
So it's
literally laughable.
It's weird, and it might be a nice gotcha because of the way the Blood Bowl rules are worded. So if someone goes, "Oh, I only got a 7," forgetting your stunty, and then they say, "Oh, I'm going to use Mighty Blow," done. They've used Mighty Blow. Then you say, "Well, actually, he's got a thick skull, so that 8 is now stunned, and you would have knocked him out on that 7 anyway." It's a bit of a underhanded move, but
The dick move, I believe, is the phrase, but perfectly legal.
absolutely, and that's how it works. So I have considered thick skull on a goblin for that reason.
But they get strength on doubles.
Yeah, well, they get everything on doubles, but we'll see. Maybe if I get that Dauntless fellow and he gets a second double. That rounds up.
We got one more.
Oh, of course, it's not in
It's an
here, is it?
extraordinary skill. So you can only have this.
No.
No, I believe it. Isn't it?
Piling on is a strength skill. It's been added.
But do you believe it in red box? No, it's not
No,
extraordinary. No, that's just in the red
It's
box.
at the end of the. It's in an optional rules thing, near the end of the book.
Which
is
is
piling on, which is the one skill that allows you to use a reroll or get a reroll on the armor or injury roll.
yes, but it's. I hear everyone with like the big guys on their teams screaming for joy, but it costs you a team reroll and is affected by loner. So if you fail the loner roll on it, you lose the reroll anyway, and you do not get to reroll the armor.
Indeed. You also have to be next to the person you did it to. And so you declare this after you decide whether or not to follow up, which might not be an issue for big guys because they normally don't mind. But they I'm just trying to find the rule in here. I'm pretty sure it's around. But it's so if you haven't followed up, you can't use it. And fantastic work. That's fine. I'll find it in here now. And it puts your player on the ground. So it opens him up for fouling. It's not a turnover, but yeah, you're quite right. Actually, I believe.
It's
No,
Death
I
Zone
just don't
2.
know my. Yeah, it is Death Zone 2. You have to be right next to them. No armor roll is made for them, for the player you put on the ground. And it's not turnover unless the piling on player is carrying the ball, which will be some weird decision on your behalf. It cannot be used with the stab or chainsaw skills.
Because, well, could you imagine?
Yeah, and then if you can lose it. But you have to place the player, this is what I wanted to check, place the player face down when you declare you're using piling on, and then you might fail the loner roll. So you might put him face down.
Oh, yes, so they do still go prone before.
So you could put someone face down, not the end of your turn, but opens them up for fouling, and people like fouling big guys. So more of a double-edged sword than I initially thought.
Yeah, the only teams really that I can see it being a sort of like viable or necessity really are Norse or Bretonnians, which I reckon it works quite well with.
Possibly dwarves, because they've got block, they want to be fighting anyway. They've got high armor value, so if they're fouled, it's not such a big deal. And so I'm just thinking of like, you'd put it on a lineman, I think, to take that risk. Also, you can't use it, it's only during blocks, so you can't use piling on for fouls.
Correct.
So it's, it combos with Mighty Blow, it combos with Claw. It's got that big combo dream, but with low.
It's risky.
Yeah. Chaos Warriors, though, it's quite nice. Anybody with strength 4, so like the Lycanthropes on the Norse team, they're quite nice with it because you can take the risk. But yeah. So I think that's all we've got to say about the strength skills.
That is correct.
So rounding up today's episode with the final
We
section.
do still have fixtures.
Oh, want a time budget here. Shall we just...
Which I've got up in front of us. We'll
Brilliant,
just
let's do
breeze
it.
through
Let's
it.
go to the sports room.
So for the South in week 4, we've got South London Blades versus the Bash Street Bullies, the Back Alley Bandits versus the Lost Boys, the Calidor Croydonians versus the Block and Rollers, the New Phoenix Patriots versus the Warhogs, and the Hownell Brown Cows on a bye. And now to find the North one.
I get to see John play a full game finally, so that's going to be fun. Apart from that, don't know who I'd really like. I'd like to see your game with Johnny Chill.
I'm looking forward to that one. And week 4 for the North, the Scary Watfires versus the Underworld Impalers. Underworld Impalers. The Rockham Rangers versus Some Humans. The Red White Greenskins versus the Bray Herds. And now for the first game is Brains versus the New York Giants with Rains Park Orkish on a bye.
I'd like to see Brains versus the New York Giants. I know Dan Pilgrim is a little shy, so I don't know if he'll appreciate people watching, but I'll do it from a distance.
Yes, I was about to say, stand at a chair at the other side of the room.
Periscope, it'll be fine. I am a Goblin player afterwards. We have a lot of secret devices. So I think that would be my pick of the week for the North.
Yep, I'm just going to go with the Some Humans again because I want to see them play.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, knowing my luck, they'll probably be recording on Wednesday, tomorrow, when I'm
No doubt.
not around. So with that, shall we go back to the main newsroom for questions?
Yes, back to questions.
There we go.
And picking up a question that we weren't able to get in last week because we were recording when it's sent was, if we do a next season of this, should special balls be used? And if so, which ones are you looking forward to?
And that's from Ramsey.
That is correct.
Not the chef, the Blood Bowl coach. Although I guess Gordon Ramsay might be a Blood Bowl coach. He's got the temperament. I don't know what the special balls do, but it sounds like they're extra fun. So I'm up for it. And I'll also be playing a real team next season.
The only one I am aware of is the squib ball, which means...
Oh, the squib ball, yes.
It fights to bounce free from ball carriers if they don't perform any actions in their turn, or before they do an action, I believe.
Nice.
And it bounces I believe it also adds +1 to picking up the ball.
That's fine. Anything that makes life harder for players who are good at things is good by me. Although maybe next season, I don't know. Yeah, let's do it.
And next question is from Andy Hoff, which straight away digging in with the fact that I'm missing my Dark Elf. Cheers for that, Andy. Now that Tom Shady is dead, may he rest in peace. Thanks for that.
Spelt peace, as in a
Oh,
piece
wow.
of 8.
I only had just noticed that.
I'm not sure if that's intentional, but I hope it is.
Which coach do you think will finish the season with most touchdowns and most casualties? Well, I think we've got our casualty coach right here.
I'm trying, as long as my secret weapons count. I'm on the heady heights of 8 by my count, but I'll have to go over the games previously to confirm that. Johnny's running away with the touchdowns on 8 as well, which is phenomenal. So
I think we won't be able to see until the nearer the ends because at the moment we've only got 2 or 3 teams with byes.
We've seen 3 games played now, so if we do another one after we see 6 games played, see if things change a bit. But
I mean, this is always a bit unfair for Andy himself, considering he's played 1 game
and not really got a chance to do anything else. But I'm glad that not only have I invented a competition, but I am now front running it. So it looks like
you're going to win this anyway.
Well, I didn't win our game, so I can't boast about that. You're right. But yeah, there you go. I'm putting myself forward for the Golden Fist and Johnny for the Golden Boot. I think Dan is as well.
Yes.
Yeah, there we go.
Sorry about that.
2 from Massey next, I think.
Yep. Which strength skills would benefit, could benefit the less bashy teams, i.e. elves, goblins?
Well, for goblins and halflings and ogres, I think multiple block is a big contender because you've got the big guys.
Yeah.
Break tackle's always good, but again, that's if you've got big guys or high strength players, and then you're already a bashy team probably. Strong arm.
Strong arm and strong arm, guard, and stand firm would be my three.
Yeah, I think guard and strong arm are really nice, especially if you get a double on a thrower and you're not sure what to spend it on because you get general and passing anyway. I would, So I think we're going strong arm and guard as the big ones.
Yep.
Multiple block for niche scenarios.
And which other skills apart from strength could benefit bashy teams?
Well, we did a whole episode on this, which is definitely out. Oh, well, not a whole episode on this, but we did a section on one skill tree in a previous episode, which is definitely out at time of release for this episode.
And I imagine we will cover more so when we get into the agility tree, the passing trees, and mutations.
So let's just have a quick look at those and name a few, because we can do that with the rulebook in front of us. So agility, fighting, let's pick 2 each. If you like fouling, sneaky git.
Diving tackle,
Strong contender. And jump up.
always good for a raging blitzer.
Yeah, blitzer, or just because it helps. There's a case to be made for dodge, but it's a bit boring and you don't actually actively use it. So
there's quite a few in the mutation tree.
Yep. Again, pick 2.
Claws.
Yeah, agreed.
Horns.
Prehensile tail.
Yeah. Tentacles.
Yeah.
Handy to get people. Makes it more difficult to dodge away.
Foul appearance is quite nice as well because it's a defensive one, but it's quite nice. I think the top 2 would be claws and horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They hurt.
Horns only works on the blitz, but it gives you +1 strength, which means you don't need a POW.
And then I think in reality, in passing, leader, because it gives you an extra reroll for something.
That's about it. Maybe a case to be made for dump off.
Yeah.
Niche, but it means you can make a quick pass to someone there. We'll just talk about the general tree very briefly, picking 2 each. Block, unfortunately, because you can use it, and Dauntless, if you don't have big guys or you've got a lot of small guys.
No, this is more for the big guys trying to play a bit of...
yeah, that's true. All right, so I'll take block, and I'd still take strip ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty strong, but there's loads. There's like wrestle, there's pro, there's
tackle,
frenzy, there's tackle. Like general's actually really good for actual fighting, whereas strength is good for exemplifying that.
And that brings us to the end of the questions section.
And to the end of the episode. So thank you very much for tuning in to Let's Get Ready to Fumble, news at 5 tonight. I've been John Burgundy.
And I've been Dan Browngundy.
And I hope you have fun
getting ready to fumble.
Y'all ready for this?